Hello and welcome to Flashback, the games you love, the stories you forgot. This is episode 23, and this week we're in April 2006. I'm RGT, and as always, I am joined by... He's always carefree when playing a PS3, has an incredible history with the Xbox 360, grabbed a tissue when he finished The Last of Us Part 2. That's UCP George. How you doing, mate?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm great. Good intro.
Steady.
Yes. Yeah, I'm fired up. There's plenty of games to get stuck into here, and no doubt some salacious news. So I would suggest we rip clean into it, sir.
Oh, I think you're right, yeah. April 2006. That sort of new gen on the era coming out soon that year of PS3, 360 already out. So interesting time. And you could see that with the amount of games that was coming out. But we'll go straight into what we would have hoping that we would have been playing at that current time. I am going to start with a game on March the 7th. Came out in 2006 called Pursuit Force on the PSP. Now I didn't play this as of when I got my PSP. It was a lot later on when I started collecting a few games, bits and pieces, building up a library for it. And I mean, I got this just UMD only. Didn't even get a case for this. It was like £1, I think, something silly.
That's
like that.
raw.
Yeah, and then I loved it so much, I ended up buying a complete copy, which was only about £2 when I bought
Case
it.
is £1, apparently.
Yeah, but great little game. You hadn't heard of Pursuit Force. It's like a sort of cop. You're sort of this real sort of edgy cop. Loads of car chases, and you can jump from car to make your way to the lead villains and take them out. And that's almost like a cross between sort of like a spy hunter, a bit of Burnout, bit of what else would you say as a cop game? Oh, no, I'll tell you what it reminds me of. It reminds me of that was it PS2 game? Sort of a Mexican sort of shoot 'em up, like a GTA version. What was that called?
Like Chili Con Carne or something.
Yeah, it's got that sort of mixed in it as well. But I think they done a second one as well, didn't they?
It's
Pursuit
got
Force
like
Stream or...
with its like jumping and its targeting and bits and bobs as well. It sometimes feels a little bit kind of light gunny, Time Crisis-y as well in a way. Gives me
I
that
think you're
vibe.
right. Yeah, definitely.
It's not that at all, but some of that symbology and the feeling feels a bit like that when you're in the moment.
Yeah, and when you get the chance, you have to time it right to do the jumps. It's almost like that lock on, like you would have in Time Crisis. I see what you mean with that, and I think a great little game and something that you wouldn't really think of a handheld on a small screen, but it works and it's great fun for what it is. If you go
Got
into
a sequel, did it not?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't remember what that was called. Pursuit Force, was it Extreme or something like that? It was called, but
I think it might just simply call Pursuit Force 2 or something.
yeah, you might be right. But yeah, great little fun games on the PlayStation.
Pursuit Force 2 Extreme, something. Yeah, you are right. I think it has a subtitle, but yeah, it's out there.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out if you're into your PSP and you haven't played it. For the money, just for a bit of arcade, destruction, bit of fun. For relatively cheap money, I think these days. But what about you, George? What are you picking out first?
Oh, mate, there's a lot of nostalgia here, so you're gonna have to indulge me a little bit of a little bit of OG time. There was a time where me and OG hot-footed it from my gaff to Asda in Grantham for a midnight launch of Ghost Recon, and it's not on here, but Fight Night Round 3 or something like that, whatever the first one on 360 was. And we bombed it down this back road as well. He's got there, and we used to play a lot of PGR at the time, and often he would somehow execute this move coming off of a slight raise, and we'd call it the bunny hop that we'd look for in the replay. And as we were nailing it through, I was following him through these back roads, and as he popped up off this hill, he executed a little bunny hop in real life, which was kind of fun. I know this is none of the game, but I'm sure you're here for the stories that we forgot. Well, I haven't forgotten this. Anyway, we get to Asda, we walk around, and we stumbled across a gentleman, a rather unique gentleman. He clocks that we've got games. I think he had like Ghost Recon, but not Fight Night. We had both. And I had never really seen a gamer gentleman that we kind of know in the modern era in the wild at such a time. And because to me, the only gamers I kind of knew were me, Tom, and some mates. Um, anyway, I stumbled across a gentleman here executing to perfection in 2006 this meal in a basket. So the aforementioned Ghost Recon 360. He had what looked like an emerging, almost embryonic Rustler's burger, and it was also packing some energy drink as well. So this gentleman really was like the prototypical gamer. I think I'd love to go back to him, maybe take a clone. Maybe this is what's happened. You know, I hate to say it, but he was wearing a German military cap. I think a green combat jacket, some heavy metalish looking clothes, and a fragrance that's unique to probably gamers frequenting Asda at
Hmm.
midnight with Rustler's burgers and energy drinks in their basket. But nonetheless, a rather gameful chap who sort of blurted his online gamer tag at us, and I didn't really know what any of that was at the time. It was only after that did I reveal myself to Xbox Online. But to revert to the game, I tell you what, we were kind of waiting for some sort of special sauce out the gates from the launch of the 360. And don't get me wrong, graphically, we'd been nothing but appeased. But the trailers that we'd seen on demo discs and the previews we'd read in the magazines and the reviews that we'd had by this time put Ghost Recon right at the top of our must-buy list. And I'll tell you what, initially, I was blown away. Underneath all that, it's your classic Ghost Recon game, really. Slightly more advanced and a little bit more Rainbow Sixy than usual, but it had some real great moments on 360. It obviously had that real sort of get out the helicopter and the sun's really bright, so they fade up the screen saturation a lot, so it's all white, and then it kind of fades back in the graphics as you're kind of going down the zip line onto the floor, and yeah, lots of realistic radio chatter. Can't knock a bit of Ghost Recon. Um, RGT, I don't want to labour it, but obviously we've got Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition Remix, which was probably the version that made it onto the, what, 7th gen.
Hmm.
Probably rezzed
Yeah.
up graphics, etc. There's a game I kind of want to just spin off with for a moment with you. Is a game here called The Outfit. I remember this getting quite a lot of hype back in the day. I think I'm slowly becoming famous on Flashback for the guy that says this one was all over the magazines, but The Outfit was. But I kind of remember it reviewing, not in a good way. I think it was like Mercenaries. Do you remember it?
I don't remember it.
I never had
No.
it, but I remember it being everywhere and not doing too great. Yeah. Anyway, what's the next game on the list for you, good sir?
Um,
Oh, do you have any memories of Ghost Recon?
no, it was never my genre, that sort of game. It was nothing I played. I tell you who did, one of our followers over on the UTP, Speedy Wheels. Hello, Speedy Wheels, if you're
Ah,
listening.
good day
Um,
to you.
he always talks about Ghost Recon. It was one of his most played games, and always says, "Oh, I'll have to come around and play on your 360. We'll have a go at Ghost Recon. I'll play Ghost Recon." So I end up buying a copy just for when he comes around, so we can have a go on it. But never played it back in the day. Wasn't, like I say, it wasn't my sort of genre, but I knew it was popular. You always heard of it.
What would I find in your basket circa March 9th, midnight 2006, if I'd stumbled across you in that era? What would I have seen? Copy of the game. Let's a copy of a game. Let's just
Copy of
put
a
that.
game.
Yeah.
Probably a 4 pack of beer.
Oh, what kind of beer would you have been supping in 2006?
I was always a bitter man, so it'd have probably been a John Smith's, aka or slash, I should say, Tetley's.
Would you,
Uh,
John Smith, have to be the smooth flow with the ball?
I didn't mind either, but if the smooth was there, then I'll take it. As simple as that. Also, I'd have probably had in there a
Do you
big
think that's
bag.
the ultimate widget? Because there was a kind of almost like a what I would call. No, this is an interesting segue. This is worth
I'm
indulging.
not sure interesting is.
No, I think so. I think so. There was almost an arms race between beer manufacturers and widgets at the
Oh yeah,
time.
that was the thing at the time, wasn't it?
The little plastic piece of garbage that would rattle around the can.
And make it
Uh,
feel like it was draft poured from a pump in a pub.
yeah, I think Guinness had like a disc in the bottom of theirs that would release the nitrogen or something. I think they're still on with a little bit of that gimmick now, aren't they? Because you
Oh,
got all the
they are.
different.
Yeah, it's a guy I work with who's mad on his Guinness and has that nitro surge, but they're like quite expensive to buy each special can, and then you get like a rechargeable pourer that goes on top of the can, and yeah, he swears by it. I'm like, does it make that much difference? I don't know, but yeah,
Mm.
people with Guinness are they're keen on their
And
Guinness.
John Smith's, I think, typically kind of budget option. They just kind of throw a ping pong ball in the can.
Exactly, and then just got Peter Kay to welly a football over a fence and go have it. But
Boddington's had one as well, I think, didn't they?
yeah, they had old Mel Thingy Bob do it, didn't they?
I'm not thinking they put her in a can. I'm thinking they had a widget in a can, didn't they? They
Yes,
might have
they
been the
did.
first one to do it, actually.
Maybe with the old smooth pour. Yeah, it might have been.
Message in questions at
Yeah.
unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com if you've got a mild interest in who was the first beer widget. Let us know. We're not going to Google it. We don't want to do that.
No. Yeah. Let us know. But
Or
I'd
in
have.
the YouTube
y-
viewer
Yeah,
down
yeah.
below.
Give us a message on YouTube. Yeah, let us know if you're listening or viewing, stroke listening on there now.
Just if you're even
Um,
alive and listening, really.
but I would have been John Smith, and I'd have been one of them big packs of fiery Watsits. That would have
Oh,
been
you
my go.
bugger.
Yeah. Oh, I love them. I love them. I still do love them. But
Oh, you see, the very thought of it now is making me sweat furiously. I find that quite scary.
oh no, I didn't find them that hot. I just loved them. So
To
yeah.
me, the what's it presents to you a cheesy crumb so delicately sort of attracted to your fingers that it almost sort of stains them like a dark yellow color if you've been
Oh
furiously
yeah, and
or
rains your mouth.
vigorously, yeah, rummaging in a bag of Wotsits or some of the lesser known cheese puff snack. I'll be honest with you, they don't really count. Um, the fiery version, though, I can imagine its same kind of dust like a sort of Dijon properties,
Sort of a deeper
rendering.
red orange, yeah.
Yeah, but I think what you're missing here to someone like me is that this combination of dusts would be almost similar to a Viet Cong suffering from napalm burns.
No, it wasn't it wasn't that. It was just that when you'd finished a gaming session and about 8 bags of these, your fingers looked like you smoked 60 rollies a day.
Yeah, see, to me, your controller would probably have been clicking on the old Geiger counter like the elephant's foot at Chernobyl. I could have gone nowhere near that.
Oh, you had to decrust a controller after each sesh,
Yeah,
mm.
yeah,
Hoover, and then a wet wipe.
yeah. If I'd have looked at that, I probably would have come up in such a heat rash, like I'd have just fallen in a George Foreman grill for 3 to 4 minutes. Moving on. What's your next
Yes,
game?
I'm going to go April 11th, 2006 was Tomb Raider Legend, which is
Oh,
the sort of the reimagining of Tomb Raider, the fresh start for Tomb Raider at the time, and
it's a good game.
it is a really good game actually.
That
That's
intro alone on 360 specifically, I think really sings, dude.
yeah. Well, I've never played the 360 one. I've played PS2 and I've played PSP.
Oh, the PSP is a technical freaking miracle, and I
That
still stand a gog at it
it
because it is
is.
phenomenal. But on 360, mate, Tomb Raider Legend, I bought it thinking, oh well, I remember back in the day having this and being a bit like almost derisive of it. And there's a moment where you climb up this cliff and a waterfall happens and radio kicks in, some birds fly over, and I was like, okay, all right, I am completely wrong. It had gravitas, it had scale, it had really nice controls where you weren't locked to a grid. Finally, it was the rebirth, and I think we got 3 games here, didn't we? Out of this series before we got
Mm,
another trilogy again.
yeah.
But yeah, most happy with it. What was your? So you played it where? PS2?
PS2 and PSP. I've played it.
Thoughts?
we played. There was a load of us played together a few years ago on
On
the.
PS2 through Component. Now, I know I got proved wrong, but prove me wrong again and I'll kill you. This game can go up to, well, can come out as HD on PS2. It's one of those
Mm,
it's one of those high res games, isn't it?
mm.
Is that how
I,
you played it?
no, I didn't. I just played it through standard cables
Wow.
on a CRT, and it still looked good on the CRT. I was more blown away by the PSP version. Um,
Agreed. I mean, it's the same, isn't it?
it is, and that's what amazed me because I played them back to back. I wanted to see what it was like, and then loading it in, getting that familiar UMD grind, and then load up and thinking, oh, where am I going to lose out here? And you start playing, thinking, I don't know if I've lost out here at all.
No.
This is a very good game for a handheld game.
I kept expecting to feel like something would be cut out any second, and it
Mm,
never, and it, as far as I'm aware, it never was.
no, and that ended up that was close to a holiday when I played. So I took my PSP with me, played Tomb Raider Legend as my sort of holiday game, and I thought, oh, this is brilliant. You got a proper full Tomb Raider adventure in your pocket. Absolutely loved it. So yeah, definitely recommend Tomb Raider Legend to anyone if you haven't played that. And still amazes me. That's 20 years ago. Crazy. But what's your next game in, George?
A game that probably is one of the reasons why I probably chased Microsoft initially into the seventh gen with the 360. I'd had an Xbox One. Don't you dare, George. You know it's not called that anymore. I had an Xbox original, classic, whatever the frick, Xbox One. I had an Xbox One, but not the one you're thinking of, Gen Z. Go ask your dad. Um, and I had Morrowind on there. And I fell in love with that game. Hundreds of hours. I went everywhere. Do you know, I used it like a sandbox. I even tried to glitch the ending. I think there's like this big wall around, and I was like, no, I'm powerful enough now. I'm just gonna sort of glitch walk up the side of it, jump over the top. I mean, it didn't end well, but I tried. And the game was this wonderful place where I got lost in dwarven ruins, and I was like, this is incredible. So then when I heard that, and gaming news was presented in a much different way back in the day. It wasn't
Mm,
as though you
mm,
could go on the internet, well, you probably could, but it wasn't as information was proliferate out that way. It was proliferate out through magazines and water cooler exchanges. Around this time, I would have been checking the internet, but not daily. Anyway, I stumbled across the thoughts that this game Oblivion is coming out. It's coming out in the 360's launch window. Well, drop my trousers, spank me lily whites, and call me bought. I was all in at that moment, I tell you. Um, I remember feeling a little bit like unsure because about not long before the 360 came out, I was away on a holiday and I got up early one morning. I thought I'll go out and have a look at the local newsagents. New York, this was. And I walked in there thinking, because you always think America's got everything more, and they didn't really have anything new about the 360 other than this one magazine I found that was like an Xbox magazine, and in there was this sort of preview of Oblivion, and it had all the details in about the horses, and I mean, compared to Morrowind, this thing looked great. And in the era of 2006, late 2005, Oblivion looked $1 million.
mm.
Um, Probably one of the best game looking games on the system at that time. Yeah, glitchy, yes. Bit broken, yes. We accept that, yes. Did I accept it? Yeah. I don't think I accepted it because it wasn't quite the Morrowind follow-up that I wanted. And I always talk about this. Don't get so into a game and then expect the sequel to be what you want, because you're probably going to be disappointed. Every now, quite often the developer gets it right. And let's face it, based on sales alone, we got it better than Morrowind,
But
and they got it even
also,
better
sorry to
again with
interrupt,
Skyrim.
but do you think we cared as much about performance then as we do now? I think we were used to a 30 FPS. We were used to
I
frame
think
drops.
that I was just used to a game being whatever a game was. I was aware of frame rate, but maybe I didn't have a name for it, but I was aware it was happening.
Yeah.
Oh, a game feels a bit boggy at the minute. Oh, I don't know why. Or I don't understand what's happening. Or, my one of my classic ones I talk about Metropolis Street Racer on Dreamcast, banging into the first corner, all of the cars, and it. I remember thinking, wow, I love the way they've incorporated like a force, like you feel like you got the force almost, where everything slows down. That wasn't what was happening. What was happening was the frame rate was tanking like an
I done the
absolute
same with
dead dog.
R-Type when I first played R-Type, and I thought, yes, when it gets mental, they slow it down so you can slow time down to go through. And then it weren't until a few years later, and I got a bit older and a bit wise, and yeah, nah, that's frame drops. That's slowing up when there's a lot of things on screen. But
Hey,
you
but do you
sort of
know
used
what?
it to your advantage at the time. You
He
didn't,
did.
but yeah.
Um, so Oblivion came out. I got the. I wish I still had it now. There's like a little collector's edition with a coin in it. Very early 360 launch version.
Mm.
Coin, a map. It was a foldable cardboard with a DVD making of as well. It was a very nice product, to be fair. Um, Look, I loved it. I played enough of it to know that I enjoyed it, but it was never what I wanted. Like Morrowind, I don't know what it is about it. In that moment, carried everything that I needed from it. I think I was also a little bit homesick for a game I've been playing in the Navy called Sea Dogs, which had a very similar kind of. It was broken beyond all confession. Sea Dogs was absolutely broken PC budget piece of garbage that
Oh, I never heard of it.
no one would be playing unless they were trapped at sea for weeks on end with nothing else to do but play Sea Dogs in their spare time. Sea Dogs becomes then an obsession. Sea Dogs then becomes a great game.
Mm.
For a captain, for a first mate, you need an educated man. Oh, wow, great. There's Sea Dogs for you, baby. And the way you walked in that was a bit broken. The way you interacted was a bit broken. And I mapped some of these thoughts into Morrowind when I played it. So, it's a bit like, and I remember ringing my mate Yoda from the name and saying, oh, get this. You got an Xbox? Yeah. So, I'll get this because it's a bit like Sea Dogs, but on land. And he got it, and he got it immediately. He fell in love with the game. And I think Sea Dogs also presented to you like the end goal really is for you to kind of sort this out for yourself, find out what went on with your father, piece some pieces of a map together to find the ultimate treasure. That's it. End of story, end of tutorial, end of everything. See you on the flip side, pal. Oh, and by the way, this game is so broken that you even just press the wrong key at the wrong moment, and it, it, it it's all just in the bin anyway. Oh, right. Okay. Interesting. I wouldn't normally play a game like this, but there is no other game. So, Sea Dogs it is.
Mm.
We did actually pick up on a market a replacement, a similar naval game, because I don't know, we became obsessed. And I had it tucked in my back pocket. The naval work trouser was a little unforgiving. And I think I climbed up out of our mess, which was down through a kidney hatch. It was quite tight. You got to pull yourself up onto your arse to get out. At least I did anyway. I'm about as at that time I was about as athletic as a slug. As I sat down, I think I just heard this crunch. Oh, bloody hell! What that was. Anyway, let's go play this naval simulator. Get down there, just pull out, just basically dust. Sea dogs? Yeah, sea
Yeah,
dogs.
yeah, yeah. Sea Dogs.
So anyway,
Bloody
I don't know
hell.
how I managed to talk about uh, how I managed to turn that round. But Oblivion, I mean, it's a Hallmark game. It's a big moment. It was a great moment and one that I enjoyed. But the stories around it and the stories we tell about games are probably way better than the games themselves. But
Mm.
did you ever dip into this whole Bethesda sort of RPG world or no?
No, I didn't. I always saw the games about, and I wasn't. The thing was that sort of medieval fantasy world wasn't my thing, and that wasn't really my thing until sort of watching Lord of the Rings and things like that. And then that sort of drew me in that world, and I thought, oh, do I
Mm.
go back and play the games or not? And I haven't, um, but wish I had have done, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I've played
I'll take an
Witcher and
hour,
that, and
hour in the knee for you.
yeah, but it wasn't. I was a bit more. sort of tunnel vision with my gaming at the time. You know, cars, football, sports, the odd adventure. I like me like Devil May Cries and your hack and slashes, that sort of thing. But I didn't really expand out, and always wish I had done. Hence why when game collecting, I did purchase these games just to have them there when I'm ready to play, if I ever play. But
Hmm.
you know, obviously it was a very popular game to get the remake. It did a couple of years ago, and um, yeah,
What are you picking that? Because I am literally just seeing game after game after
yeah.
game after
Well,
game after game, and I'm like, oh, I'm nervous.
you know, I've just talked
Oh,
myself in.
mate.
I've talked my.
March 29th, 2006, NBA Ballers Phenom.
Oh, I know you'd see that. Yeah. That's another one of them. We had one before, didn't we? Where they make it look like a GTA RPG, but it's a basketball game. It's unbelievable. It looks like a music video from about 2005.
That dude sizing up that ball on the front. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
But next, I'm going to go with OutRun 2006 Coast to Coast.
Oh, wow. You're really just tracing through these. You're not bothered, are you?
That's one of my favorite Outrun games. I think what a great game that is. And the only disappointment I had with this game is having the PS2 version and thinking, oh, I'm going to put that in my backwards compatible PS3. No, you're not.
No,
Doesn't
you're not.
you can't play that on there. It's one of the very few that doesn't actually play if you want to play that on the in HD in all its glory. But yeah, this was PS2, original Xbox, PSP. This came out on great port on the PSP as well. Great fun game to play. It's a bit awkward with your little analog nubbin. I found can be a little bit awkward, but um, just a great game. I think if you like outrun games and you haven't played Coast to Coast, you need to play Coast to Coast. So yeah, you had much go with this, George? Stop stroking your chin and trying to make
Ginny
me laugh.
Recon, you
Come
struggle
on.
with a nubbin. Right, let
I
me go.
I do
No.
one like that.
Uh, mm, uh,
Flashback. It's flashback. Come on.
just want to take a moment to talk about some of the things that I've seen on the way through here. I want to talk about Full Spectrum Warrior 10 Hammers, which is a follow-up to Full Spectrum Warrior, a game I
Can I just
really.
stop you there? Have you had much? I said, have you had much history with Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast?
Yes, mainly on the PSP, where I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I
It
didn't
is a good
have.
looking game on there.
Yeah, I don't think I had any. I've got it on PS2 as well, but I think I predominantly played it more on PSP. I probably, for that reason, probably didn't struggle with the nubbin because to me it was like, this is Outrun, this is how it plays.
I would imagine it's probably the Xbox is probably the version to get. I would imagine that looks stunning on there.
Yeah, I
That's
never had it on there. I think I had a demo from official Xbox magazine of it, but I didn't.
mm,
I didn't have it. Apologies there. I ran ragged. I ran all away. I ran away from Outrun coast to coast like a scared child.
it's all right.
Apologies.
I caught you back up and
You
reeled you
did.
in.
I'm back
Yeah.
in here. I
Anyway,
mean,
so
I
yeah.
like the game. It's a good ode to the original, as in the OG 16-bit version or arcade classic.
Mm.
Um, but there's enough going on in there. There's shades of Crazy Taxi to it as well, in my
Oh,
opinion,
definitely. Yeah.
especially in its, in that guise, and enough tribute to the old one while doing enough to make the game feel new, different,
And the
fresh.
drift mechanic as well, real over
Yeah.
the top drift mechanic, and that's very satisfying when you really start nailing that.
And that's
And
the
that's like,
secret
oh, that's
sauce
good.
that makes it its own thing,
Mm,
but it's still 100% outrun.
yeah,
As far as tributes to classics go, you could argue it's probably one of the best.
mm,
Um, I will carry on dribbling on then, if I may, about Full Spectrum
certainly.
Warrior 10 Hammers. Just a follow-up to a shooting game on Xbox that was apparently used as a training stroke recruitment tool for the US Army itself.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing that.
Quite
Mm.
what ended up becoming of that, I'm not sure. It's much more a tactical, sort of suppressive fire, educational tool, if that was the case. And in that case, it is good. It makes you think about your assets on the ground as maybe an officer on the ground.
Then they done a few. Did they do a few of these full spectrum
Just
warriors?
one and two, as far as I'm aware.
Oh, one and two. Yeah, I knew there was more
Yeah.
than one, but yeah.
Another game that seems to be a bit lost to time is Rumble Roses XX, which I think was a wrestling game with the rather sort of buxom girls from the DOA series, but message in or let me know below if I've got that wrong. I'm sat here looking at Kingdom Hearts 2. I don't know if that's the OG in 2006, probably is. That's a great game. I've thoroughly enjoyed playing through with my daughter. It's a little unforgiving compared to the first one, in my humble opinion. And for that reason, and maybe there's nostalgia in that, there's a little bit less charm, but people seem to like two more than one. Again, there's that classic moment of like, oh, I don't like everything that you're liking, but you got some what you like, so I'm happy for you. But Kingdom Hearts is great, and if you haven't ever played it, it's a great one to play
Mm,
through with a child or a partner or whatever. It's fun, it's not challenging. I think some people feel a little bit intimidated by it, but nah, don't be. It
mm.
can be challenging in a fun way. You can drop the
Mm.
difficulty down. There's so much to see. Um,
There's one I've spotted here, which is actually one of my ex hidden gems over on the Unofficial Controller podcast, and that's Untold Legends Warriors Code on PSP. PSP, PS,
yeah.
PSP exclusive, sort of a isometric top-down a bit like Diablo, not quite as hectic, but RPG. Great
Where's
little
that?
game. That is down just across from Full Spectrum Warrior. Um, but yeah, great little game. I think they done two or three of these Untold Legends ones. But
Yes, of course it is. Yeah, I see it now.
yeah, great little game. That one really good, especially for the price as well.
Um, Blazing Angels, which was kind of World War II arcade flight sim that also bizarrely had an arcade cabinet as well.
Yeah, because I remember we played it when we went to the arcade near you,
We
and that's
did. There's an arcade club in Lincoln that has a working example of Blazing
that
Angels.
was great fun to play as well.
Yeah,
Great arcade game.
it's the game basically using the seat and whatnot to make it a little bit more immersive. But
Mm,
yeah, it's good fun. Surprised you passed this, but we've got Godfather the game here, which
hmm
is did you have that?
Yeah, so I had it back in. I can remember playing it. I can't remember a lot about the story, but I remember loving it. Hence why I bought the in my collection. I've got the coffin case collector's edition
Mm,
for PS2, which is brilliant. A sort of steel tin, Godfather tin. When you open it up, it's got the roses and the quilted silk in, not a coffin, but the game's in it
yes.
rather than it's brilliant. But yeah, Godfather the game. It's a good game for the time as well. Not many. You always think licensed games, that sort of crime thing, but it's good. Got old Marlon Brando down to a T. It's really good. Enjoyed that.
I can't effectively leave this episode of Flashback without giving a nod to OG, the original co-host of the Unofficial Controller podcast, because he
Because
because he had an obsession, quite an unhealthy one, with this game. March 2nd, 2006, The Lord of the Rings: The Battle for Middle-earth 2. He had this on 360 and he played it online and offline for 1,000 hours at least.
really,
Oh God, scary amount of time. Yeah, he was a menace. He was. Um,
was that sort of action or turn based or?
it's real-time strategy.
Oh, I remember you telling me before about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the last one. Well, there's another one here, Driver Parallel Lines, which I thought you might want to talk about. But
Yes, I never really got on with that. It was a bit broken, if I remember rightly. That game, they desperately tried to be the GTA, and I think this was the nail in the coffin for them for the GTA clones. But yeah, disappointing. It didn't review very well. It was not one I'd necessarily go back to. Maybe as a
let me add it to
curio,
my
but
list of must-buys.
yep.
Let me investigate driver parallel lines. The last game I want to talk about, if you may indulge me, is Daxter. It's here. It's a
Mm,
PSP game.
yeah,
One
great
that
choice.
looks absolutely beautiful. Still to this day, if you want to say to someone, "Hey, I'll show you what PSP can do," you could probably do no harm than put Daxter in. It's 3D levels at times, but it's open world within the same reason. It's got mini games all over it. It's a collectathon. It's fun. Daxter is the wordsmith of the double act anyway, so him getting a solo game is kind of fun, so he can run his mouth a bit more.
It's a great idea as well, giving him his own standalone game. And like
Yeah,
you say, on the PSP, that's another one of them where you look at it and think, this really feels like a PS2 in my pocket. Looks stunning.
more. No,
Mm,
more. Because it's smaller, the screen's smaller. To me, Daxter impresses. It makes PS2 look a bit sort of wobbly, in my opinion. But hey, we're all different. But yeah, you kind of play through as him crash landed on a planet, kind of buttons up against Jack 2, I think, from memory, or between 2 and 3. And you get employed as a bug hunter, going around collecting, killing bugs and things like that. It's actually
yeah,
it's fun. One of the mini games where you end up riding around on a scooter. I hate that.
I
I
remember you
literally,
telling me
I
that was
still despise it to this day. It's absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. Absolute progression killing garbage. Done. Other than that, I love it.
loved and destroyed in one sentence. Um,
Absolutely. It's what
yeah,
it
well,
deserves.
I think that brings us the end of what we were hopefully would have been playing
It's a
in
great one, mate.
April
Some absolute
2006.
bangers in
A
there.
lot of games there, yeah. So,
Operation Winback. Oh, Winback 2, Project Poseidon, a follow-up to obviously Winback on the PS2, still making games in 2006.
yeah,
It's kind of beautiful in a way.
yeah, definitely. There was a lot to play at the time, and with that crossover and 368, we were a bit spoilt with PSP as well, and yeah, a lot of stuff. But I think that takes us on to the news. We scoured the very darkest back pages of the Gamer Mags and even delved deep into the interweb to bring you what was the latest stories in April 2006. First up from gamesindustry.biz. Sony forecasts massive financial loss on PS3 launch. Sony Corporation is expecting substantial first year losses from the launch of its PlayStation 3 console in November. Its Q4 financial statement revealing a gloomy forecast for the currently profitable games division. For the fourth quarter ended March 31st, Sony posted a loss of 66.5 billion yen, which is 463 million euros, 10 million higher than the loss during the same period a year prior. Thank you, George. The company attributed the larger loss to the changes in taxes paid compared with a year ago and restructuring expenses of 75.3 billion yen, which is 524 million euro, which were higher than those of the previous year. The games division remains profitable at present, however, and although profits fell by almost 80% to 8.7 billion yen, 60.5 million euro, sales rose by 31.4% to 958.6 billion yen, 6.7 billion euros. The company recorded sales of 2 million PSP units during the quarter, a slight dip of the 2.5 million a year ago, and 2.32 million PS2s, down from 6.8 million a year earlier. On a yearly basis, PS2 hardware sales remain relatively static at around 16 million units worldwide, while the increase in PSP units from 3 to 4 million boosted overall sales significantly, ensuring that the games division remains profitable. With the launch of the next generation console in November, which it is widely expected Sony will sell at a loss for at least the first year, the company is expecting to post a loss during the current fiscal year of approximately 697 million euros, although post-launch costs of the units are expected to drastically be reduced. According to Reuters, Sony's SVP Takeo Uehara stated, "We believe that we can lower costs dramatically on the PS3 through chip shrinkage and by cutting the number of parts, but there is no way to avoid high costs in the first year. The company is expected to bring the PS3 business to profitability in a short time frame as short time frame as possible, focusing on expanding the platform as rapidly as possible following the launch. Sony plans to sell 6 million PS3 units by March 2007, some 4 to 5 months after its global launch, and given the difficulties Microsoft encountered with the ambitious tri-continent launch of its Xbox 360 last year, that target would seem highly optimistic at best, even on the assumption that the component shortage issues have plagued Microsoft's launch are not a factor for Sony. Um, I put this news in because obviously this was the Xbox was out, the 360 was out, people were playing. The Sony PS3 was not, and like we've always said before, companies don't tend to make profits on hardware; they make it on the software, especially in these days. And these are some big figures here, and you're starting to think the PS2 sales had dropped significantly. The PSPs were out and doing steady. I mean, obviously, by the end of its lifetime, the PSP was nearly 90 million units sold, so it was very successful. But it was a steady sales for those year on year. Um, and also, it was a very tricky time because, like I say, PS2 was really dropped off. PSP was steady. We still weren't having the PS3 come out, yet Xbox 360 was out. And like you say, that year early jump, or about a year early jump, there was some people who migrated and some people who migrated and didn't come back. And
100%.
and it was a it
At
was
least
it,
for a while, anyway.
yeah, at least for a while. So it was on an uphill battle right from the start. That year gap, the high price, could be a bit
The
tricky to
insane leap
program
in
for.
graphical fidelity between Gen 6 and 7 as well was particularly outrageous.
Oh God, massive, yeah, yeah, massive. I still remember getting my PS3, had to buy an HD TV, my first HD TV as well. So you're a grand in the hole before you even,
Yeah,
started. But then putting Motorstorm on and Resistance and just going, whoa, hold on, this is wow. This high definition was something else. But it came at a cost, and it came, you know, I had friends that are on 360s, and I was still on my PS2. I was still on my PS2 for quite a while, you know. So it was tricky, and just seeing how they have to budget. It's almost they forecast the losses. They get the money in the bank ready for these losses, and I think the only way they coped with that was having such a successful PS2. I mean, that oversold any of their expectations, and I think it gave them a bit of bank to maybe, to take the damage from this, you know, losses on the hardware, especially to start with. But yeah, I never realised it was as tricky as this. To be fair, but
I think that they had a strategy that they had used to their betterment on the PS1 and 2, and that
mm,
had worked, and the hardware had slimmed, and it had come to them as they'd progressed, and they'd been able to make savings. I'm not saying that they probably ever turned a profit on a console, but your first loss is your best loss, as they say, so get that loss to be as little as possible.
mm,
Launching a new system, restructuring your business model around said new system while you're waiting for it to come out, and you're slitting the throat of a console that is the best selling console of all time. It still is, even to this day. Back in the day, there wasn't, you know, you didn't migrate. This is why they're a little bit concerned about backwards compatibility from the PS1 to the PS2 and the PS2 to the PS3. Let's face it, that first wave, they were panicking. They included it to the detriment even. That first console was stacked so full of tech, it was a little bit outrageous, to be fair, but it was a proper bit of kit.
mm,
Making that, preparing that, tooling up for that, while also pushing a PSP early in its life cycle, while also supporting a PS2 late in its life cycle, this is going to cost you money. And that's going
mm,
to come from where? It's going to come from your profit.
yeah. I
But
also,
it's a preparation to do more, which is
mm,
always a good thing in business. If you're buying things and doing things, this is write off, write off, write off. That's cool, that's cool, that's cool. We're preparing here.
yeah, and also I think that year gap they built in with the PS3 a few things the 360 didn't, and I think that became to us detriment in the end. And when you had revised versions of the 360, so many of them, but Wi-Fi built in, having that
Yeah,
little thing, the Blu-ray player built in rather than the external hard disk you had to buy. And although at the time it wasn't such a big deal like the DVD player and the PS2, it wasn't until a while after I realised, oh, hang on, I've got a Blu-ray player here. I can buy high definition DVDs. Suddenly this is all built in, and that something that I'd never thought of or thought I was ever interested in, like a multimedia unit under your TV. I suddenly had one. I had one that used
That's
Wi-Fi. I had one that had a Blu-ray player, and you suddenly thought, oh, actually, this is a. And I'd like my original one still got a flash card, SD card in with pictures of my daughter when she's younger. We used to have files on of Christmas and bits and pieces, and we watched films on, and we used to play. That's when I first downloaded a couple of games we played on, and suddenly it was like a multimedia sort of unit under your telly, and I think that paid off in the end, as it clawed the numbers back.
I think that's an interesting PS3 owner lens to look through because bar the HD DVD collapse, which the 360 never pertained to have out the gates,
Mm.
it was a media center. It was pulling stuff off my laptop in the other room. I was watching movies, streaming music. In fact, I went down a rabbit hole. I probably spent more time that gen downloading and arranging music in Windows Media Player so the album art would appear on the TV for the 3 or 4 occasions we actually listened to
Mm.
music in the lounge. Finding movies for the kids, putting them in a kids folder so it'd stream through to the telly from there. And the 360 didn't launch with wireless, but we got a dongle for like 15 quid or something ridiculous. And they both were. I think the PS3 was locked in, unfortunately, in
I think the
terms of its
PS3 looked
making
more the
when the
media
360.
unit, whereas the 360 was more you knew as a games machine that could do a few extra bits.
I
I,
would say, as much as I think the PS3 has become the better looking console over time, and yes, you could argue maybe it looks like a media unit, that first one, after no, not at
oh
all.
no, oh no,
Not
definitely not after all.
not
It
even
became a more
even
of a games
close.
machine
Yeah. But
after
that
all.
360 with its sucked in waist, that made Sony bob themselves. No other console looked like that. That 360 had a look to it. I still think to this day it's the best product Microsoft have ever put out.
Oh,
And
without
that
a
and
doubt.
that tells in the hardware numbers, although how many of those were bought 5 times? Um, and
Or
you
had
know,
well, not bought 5 times, replaced 5 times.
well, out of warranty, I went
Yeah.
and just bought another one. It's that simple. And how many people did do that? A lot.
Mm.
Oh, the slim one's out. The Jasper was out. Oh, the Pro model's out. The this model, the Slims model out. The redesign, the S model's out. 360 had a few
I
iterations,
had a
maybe.
lot, yeah, that did, yeah.
I forget where I was heading now, but there was a lot going on for that 360 at the time, and
And I
some
was
of this is
you're
them
correct. This was the
losing that PS2 core that would have carried historically, or should have carried them into a big wave of the PS3 at launch.
mm.
They watched that momentum fritter away within 12 months as Microsoft waved shiny things in front of their eyes.
Yeah, that's almost like Microsoft released theirs a year early and then added the bits that PlayStation were working on as they went along. They just wanted to get out the gates early. They ended up building in the Wi-Fi. They ended up adding the HD player if you wanted it. But at the time, this is the most powerful console that is on the market at the moment. Get it now. Get it a year before you get Sony's, and it worked. It worked a treat. And you are right. I was looking at the figures the other day, and Xbox has been on a complete downward spiral ever since the 360. The Xbox One sold less than half of what the 360 did. And that's the same again for the Series X. That isn't halved from the one, but it's still not great sales, about the same. Yet, you were pushing 90 million, for the 360. And it was just a shame they've just fell away ever since, because for the first few years of this console war, they were absolutely smashing it with the 360. And like I say, I've didn't get into it later. I've got a 360e, the last model they done, um,
Yeah,
and it's a great bit of kit. It's flawless. It's quiet. It plays the games well.
it does.
It's a great bit of kit. Yeah,
That
it's
one's a
just
bit Connect friendly though, isn't it? That one.
Yeah, it's not the best looking one. It is
No.
literally, it looks like a mini Xbox One. It's got that grid on half, and you can see where the design in the Xbox One comes.
Yeah, and I
Slightly
think
little
it's if you
mini
flip it
version.
round, it's definitely the Connect tool
Yeah,
on the back. Yeah,
yeah. And
100%.
And I mean, it only came with 4 gigs, so I had to chuck a 500 gig in it. But you know,
Wow.
brilliant console. Do you know what I mean? Fantastic console. And yes, when you see numbers like this, you can see that the juggling of figures at the launch of a console is oof. You know, we need to sell this by this term. We need 6 million done by this, which was optimistic at the time, and especially then. Also, like this article says, chip shortage. You know, we're talking about chip shortages now. We didn't realise they were doing chip shortages then as well. Well, I didn't.
Yeah.
You know, that was the tech was absorbing all these chips, and yeah, it was getting a bit of a battlefield out there. But yeah, interesting bit of news. But what we got up next then, George?
Next up from Eurogamer, games make you do drugs, says a new academic study. Wow, Ellie Gibson here again. Regular pen
Mm.
on the flashback episodes. Let's have a little look here. A new academic study is claiming that playing games with violent content makes you likely to think that drinking beer and smoking pot is brilliant. A total of 100 men, aged between 18 and 21, took part in the study, which was conducted by Sonia Brady of the University of California and Professor Karen Matthews of the University of Pittsburgh. Let's see how they got to this conclusion. Participants were randomly assigned one of two game missions: delivering Lisa's homework on time in The Simpsons Hit and Run, or smashing a drug dealer's skull into a bloody pulp in GTA 3. Apparently, those playing GTA 3 displayed more permissive attitude towards using alcohol and marijuana, and more uncooperative behaviour in comparison with men randomly assigned to playing The Simpsons. They also had a higher blood pressure and were more likely to suspect that other people were being hostile towards them. Parents have been told that the message that violent video games and violent media in general can influence the likelihood that their kids will be aggressive, Dr. Bray told Reuters. What this study suggests is that they might increase any type of risk-taking behaviour. Wow.
This
Okay.
amazed me. This of a wife conducting a study to be that bold with your title of your statement. Games make you do drugs. And how did they do it? They put a certain amount playing Grand Theft Auto 3 and a certain amount playing The Simpsons Hit and Run. I mean, what's the comparison? You're not going to smash someone's face in The Simpsons Hit and Run.
What's
So
the
you're obviously,
datum?
yeah, exactly. You,
And what's this random skew of 18 to 20-year-old California kids, men?
yeah.
Are they all not drinking beer and smoking the aforementioned pot? The old Rastafarian old Holborn? Is that happening already? I should think so.
And
The
also, what's your parallels? Because, like I say, in The Simpsons Hit and Run, they're saying, oh, they're a lot more, some of them were calmer in that. Well, yes, because you can't go round and, do you know what I mean? They're not given the opportunity. You need games which
well,
are level on and see how they react. Give a
hang on,
game that does
mate.
everything.
Okay, first of all, you're going to play Simpsons Hit and Run, okay, Johnny? Yeah, god damn it, let me play. What am I doing? You're going to deliver Lisa's homework, so you've obviously just got to. It's very early in the game. You've just got to get to Lisa as quick as you can. A bit like Crazy Taxi. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, not going off on the open world. No, no, not at all. No. Okay. He drives there. Boom. Not really much chance to do anything else there. There's not really much interpretation there for anyone, even someone who was wasted. Okay, Johnny. Yeah, we're gonna play GTA 3. What do I need to do? Delivery mission? A straight comparison? Oh no, Johnny, no. In this one, we're going to quote unquote ask you to do a mission where you beat a drug dealer's skull into a bloody pulp. I don't know what level that is referring to in GTA 3, but let's just imagine that that exists. That's what you're going to do. You can't do anything else, by the way. Right, okay, so I'm going to beat this guy. Yes, keep hurting him, Johnny. Okay. And do you like beer, Johnny? Yeah, I don't mind a beer. Yeah, I don't mind. And what's your thoughts about pot? Hey, man, whatever. People do what people do. Whatever. Easy come, easy go. Oh, very relaxed, very liberal. Yeah, right. Okay, yeah. Yeah, maniac.
Yeah.
What's happening?
I mean, this has been set up by people who have never played a video game in their life. Because, yeah, you're not going to be wanting to drink alcohol smoke drugs and destroy a drug dealer when you're playing The Simpsons Hit and Run because you can't, because you just got to deliver Lisa's homework. What's the comparison? They were more calm when they played that than they were on GTA. Well, yes.
And asking a group of, I mean, this is a little bit stereotypical, but I think
Yeah.
we've all been, I can speak from a point of reference. I was once an 18 to 21-year-old man, and what was I most interested in that time? Probably getting wasted.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'll be honest with you. You'd ask, what are you into, mate? Oh, bloody hell, love getting booze, get wasted, whatever. Oh, right, okay. What else? A video game. Oh, okay. Anything else? Probably like movies, Terminator, that stuff like that, Aliens, Star Wars. All right, okay. I mean, that's as broad as it gets.
Yeah. And they'd
So
have been
what's
better
their
off just
interpretation from that? That I'm
exactly.
I'm this guy?
Exactly. And also just use a wider range of ages and also just put them in one game for an hour and see what they do. And then monitor it. Don't just get them.
Also, what was the datum? Did they just put someone in a room with no stimuli whatsoever, or did they just show them a cartoon with My Little Pony? But like, are you angry yet, Johnny? No, not really. Well, I'm a bit pissy. I'm kind of bored of this cartoon, if I'm honest. Like, oh, right, okay. So, hang on a minute. Shocker. Little Pony makes like teenagers crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's this next bit of news, RGT?
Well, after that, I mean, this is going to sound very tame, but
I
yeah,
think we
just
need it because that
yeah, that
was
is
probably one of the most salacious written articles. I think let's just have a look at it through the lens of like, what is she writing here? Because it's Ellie Gibson, former deputy editor, took a story and then the way it ends, like no critique at all,
yeah, it
apart
is.
from the word apparently.
I think it's more that she's had to write that and just thought, do you know what? This is ridiculous. I'm just putting the quotes in, done, because it is absolutely ridiculous. Because I ever see Ellie being a gamer has probably read that and thought, what the hell are you on about?
Ellie knew what she was doing. It's for the
Yeah.
clicks, 105 comments.
Well done, Ellie.
That
Yeah,
was
but
big time 2006. That was like
exactly.
they're angry.
Yeah, exactly. That was that getting to that end of we'd had all the court cases and that with the PS2, and that was then getting the end where they were still having their last little jibes at trying to bring gaming down.
Equally so, if that was proven to be true, which I find it to be a very wide shot,
Mm,
um, let's investigate that.
mm,
Why is
exactly.
that the case?
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you took someone who'd never been exposed to video game, a Mormon, as
Mm,
an example, drugs or any sort of outside influence, no music, no peer influence, sat him down and made him run that same experiment with his Mormon brethrens, I somehow feel your answer would not get anywhere close to the same.
yeah, because the answer's not fitting the narrative they want to give. So it's
Well,
yeah.
I'm
Mm,
just saying,
mhm.
that ain't right, is it?
No, 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 absolute load of baloney that is. Um, but yes, leads on to our final bit of news, which is from GameIndustry.biz again. And that is Valve Software pledges Xbox 360 support. Half-Life developer Valve Software has announced that it is currently developing several as yet undisclosed titles for Microsoft's Xbox 360 console using a customized version of its acclaimed Source engine. Although there is no official word on what titles the company is actually creating, Valve has said that its first 360 game would be coming out soon, making it extremely likely that a full disclosure will be made at E3 Expo in a couple of weeks. President and co-founder Gabe Newell commented, "The combination of Source and the 360 provides game designers with the chance to create powerful entertainment experiences. Whether developing a traditional FPS, RTS, or RPG, or delving into new genres, the Xbox 360 is a great platform for expanding Source and our game experiences." Valve has worked with Microsoft before. The company's Xbox version of Half-Life 2, taking center stage on the platform holders E3 2005 booth and achieving critical acclaim, though sales of the game were less than spectacular, something Valve says came as a surprise. Undeterred, the company has committed to the future development on Microsoft's next-gen console, and it is also likely, though unconfirmed at this stage, that console versions of existing third-party PC source engines titles currently available through Valve's digital contribution service Steam may be appearing on the Xbox 360 in the future. Um, I found this interesting because even then you could see Microsoft were wanting to, they could see where Gabe was going with Steam. They could see where this was heading, and they were already wanting to be. I mean, obviously Microsoft being on PCs and a PC user, they could see where gaming was heading with Steam, and were desperately trying to get um, buddies with Gabe at this point. And I remember they had quite a close relationship through this
I
sort
think
of
they were
era.
just desperate to get hold of the games,
Yeah,
to
I
be
think so.
honest.
I
And
think
that relationship bore fruit to. I had to double check, to be fair. But it bore fruit to the Orange Box,
yeah,
and then I'd forgotten about this, but the Left 4 Dead series, which went down absolute gangstormers.
yeah, yeah.
That's a
Very
new word
true.
I've invented, by the way.
I love it.
Gangstormers. Yeah,
Love it.
I thought you'd like it.
Mm,
Uh, which is actually the kind of Xbox Live experience they were
mm.
desperate for. So I see them kind of eyeing up Gabe a little bit down the line, but I actually see them kind of seduced by the frilly panties he's thrown in front of him, like right there. Like, oh,
Yeah,
by the way, Orange Box. Oh, and you want a little bit of Left 4 Dead, or do you?
yeah.
Oh, that'd be console exclusive. Yeah, we want a piece of that.
And also we've got, we're online. I don't know if you'd be able to put Steam on the 360, or would you be interested in that? And I still
Right.
to this day they're still talking about wanting Steam on an Xbox, aren't they? You can see this has gone on for a lot of years, and
I think
it's
in that time that would have just never worked.
no,
The
no, definitely,
360 was way too narrow a platform, and what would you have been
yeah.
buying? Just 360 games off Steam? That ain't working for them.
No, and also I'm sure at one point I think Microsoft wanted to buy Valve, didn't they? I think they tried a couple of times to buy Valve unsuccessfully.
I don't recall that, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
No, I think there might even been one recently that was. I don't know if that was a Phil Spencer quote or not, but I'm sure they were tempted to try and buy Valve. But I think Gabe laughed that off. But comment if I'm wrong. Questions at unofficialcontrolpodcast.com. But I'm sure I read that somewhere. But yeah, you could see at this current time, Microsoft were very good at knowing what was successful, what would do well. That had, although it didn't get the sales, but critically, Half-Life 2 had done really well on the original Xbox. People loved it. And like you say, the Orange Box, they knew what Gabe was about. They knew what
Well,
Valve were about. And
it
then
was a great
Steam.
experience, but as they say, it didn't sell very well for some bizarre reason.
I always wondered as well as whether they got. You could always imagine Microsoft should have really been the big marketplace for or PC gaming. They had the systems to set up an online store and have a massive PC like Steam is now. And I think they missed the trick a bit there. I think Steam beat them to it, and obviously the rest is history. But you could always imagine with their setup, they probably had a good
They were a
insight.
bit more of a locked off person, though, weren't they, than
Yeah,
that?
they were. Yeah, they were. Yeah, I bet they look back now and think we probably should have
Oh, I
been.
think plenty of people probably look back and think, oh, we should have probably could have. But,
Yeah,
one man sees that moment. In fact, one man built that moment, really. And the others have kind of got their own routes to market through their own lockdown
yeah,
stores.
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
And don't forget there are other storefronts. There's Epic.
here's GOG as well, isn't there? And
Exactly. So
yeah,
there are other routes to games and owning games or renting games or game keys or whatever way people acquire licenses for software these days, and all the other reasons and ways that you can get software. I'm aware that
mm,
things happen.
yeah,
I don't. I'm definitely not into it, but well, I was on the Atari ST, I suppose, but
mm,
never since.
no, but yeah. So that was our last news story. I hope you found a bit of interest in those from Sony announcing that even before the machine had come out, 6 months prior, that PS3 was going to take a massive financial loss, but obviously they knew that and they planned for it. Right down to the next one, which is apparently games make you do drugs with a very scientific method of proving that, with The Simpsons Hit and Run and GTA 3 in a very limited age group of people, and finishing off on Valve software pledging us future support to the Xbox 360, which was a very interesting time. But I think it's now time for what we affectionately call Stingray's Boot. What's nestled between some counterfeit nappies and a dodgy copy for Battle for Endor is some of the new releases for May 2006. For spring, stop, wow, whoa. How you seeing the Ray this week, young George?
I don't know what's really happening here because Ray's popped out. He's looking quite sharp, but he's wearing like a denim jacket with a fur lined interior, cowboy hat, shirt, tight jeans, rancher boots. Yeah, hey Sting. Yeah, normal. Out steps Wayne. It's a small version. He's wearing a white shirt as well. Cowboy hat, boots, jeans. Yeah.
Nice.
Just looking a little bit Western today, I think.
Oh,
Modern country, anyway. I don't exactly know what's going on between the pair of them, whether they're going to a line dancing event or what. But yeah, it's kind of took me by surprise. I've seen them in some strange ways, but yeah, just seems just normal cowboys to me.
wow.
Hmm.
Well, to me, they've come out with their new T-shirt line that they've been pushing at the moment. Other than that, they're just Sting and Wayne. They got out of the Bluebird, and their T-shirts both say sex, drugs, Grand Theft Auto 3, and Simpsons Hit and Run. That's their new controversial hit and their new
Does it say
controversial
it
line.
across? Do they have to stand together to be able to read that, or do they each
Yes.
individually have?
No, you
No,
need
the way you
because
said it, I was like, hang on, I
that's
have to
their
see
new
this.
that's their new marketing line. You have to buy two T-shirts to make the quote fit. You see,
Yeah,
thinking ahead. You
I'm
see,
with stupid. I'm stupid.
yeah. So
Right.
dumb and dumber, that sort of thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
so sex, drugs, Simpsons Hit and Run, and Grand Theft Auto 3. So they're having a little dig at the authorities there with their little controversial T-shirt line. But I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind one of them myself. Might have
That's
to
just
put the
across two of them, is it?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's small text. But let's see. Go on, I'll let you go first, George. What are you gonna pick out of the boot?
Look, I've
What
scanned
would
up
you?
and down here, and there's a few things that take my eye. There's some absolute bangers, so I don't quite know how many I'm allowed. Uh,
Start with one, and I'll pick one, and then I'm just gonna let you go wild in there.
I don't want to go totally wild. I'll tell you what I'm going to take first of all, then I'll take table tennis, Rockstar Games table tennis.
Yeah.
A really great game, a very like niche. Not many people
Niche
have heard
game
of
with a
it.
great history and story behind it.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. And yeah, it's always surprised me as well. 360 exclusives, but I suppose at the time when they developed the engine, that was the only thing that could run their engine before the PS3 came out.
Yeah,
So,
it did get ported to Wii.
oh yeah, it did. Yeah, it did later on. I suppose for the Wiimote, I suppose, didn't it? But yeah, very interesting.
And if you've seen the Daniel Radcliffe Rockstar movie, as in Rockstar Games movie, the way this whole table tennis thing comes about
Yeah,
is absolutely hilarious.
brilliant. Yeah,
It's one of the best sets. Yeah, it's not probably like for like, punch for punch, but it pretty much tells the story of how this
yeah,
game existed, why it existed, what it represented to them, and future GTA games. So
yeah. It's
it's a must
fantastic.
watch.
An engine that went on to create some great games. That that table tennis engine. So
But born out of much duress.
yes, exactly. I'm gonna go with now it's actually a game I haven't played, and the reason I'm picking it is because I have it sealed on my shelf and I've never opened it, which
Are you
is
going to
for the
unseal it after this?
no, which because it's probably not even that good a game, but it's Jaws Unleashed on the PS2 I have,
Oh my God.
and I don't know why I
I
have it
bet you that's
sealed.
worth a pretty penny.
I would imagine it isn't.
Why
I
would it? Go on
oh
CX now.
okay, well you fiddle in and pick some games out.
Oh, you're not going to find it on there. Another one I wanted to pick out was a game called Field Commander. It's PSP. I call it PSP Hidden Gem. There's not many tactical games, military. No, strong. tactical games on the PSP, but that's one of them. So check that one out if you have it. It's affordable. And another one that sings to my heart. Now, I'm not quite sure what this is here as or for, but we've got Ode Gallop Racer 2006, which I think has got an awful lot to do with and or is the opposite of RGT's G1 Jockey Legend. And I also have a soft spot for the G1 Jockey series. I do believe G1 Jockey and Gallop Racer became one product in the PS3 iteration. That's the one to get if you're all about that BTW, as I am. So make sure you are. It's the Gran
Mm.
Turismo of horse racing. RGT, what's the news back on a sealed copy of Jaws?
Um, the cheapest has gone for 30 to £40, but they have gone for as much as 160,
I
which
thought as much.
70, 60, 30, 30, 40. So yeah, their range depends on what sort of cash the person's got who's buying it. As far as a second-hand game on CEX, it goes for £20 on the PS2.
Which is quite a lot for a CEX loose PS2 game.
Yeah, and it's £60 on the 40 to £60 depending on condition on the original Xbox. So obviously, I wonder if that's to do with when they had the 50th anniversary last year of Jaws, whether that spiked it or maybe.
I think it's generally quite just a collectible thing. Jaws has a bit of a history of video games. And I think as people pick things up for Instagram photos, they come out of circulation. People see them in Instagram photos
Yeah,
and think,
true.
oh, yeah, I need a picture of that.
Like I say, I didn't. I paid just a couple of pound for it, but I say a few years ago. It's probably 10 years ago now, so it probably wasn't
What
that
what
collectible then.
um what movie are you gonna pick?
Movie wise, I am going to go with a game which is also on here, which is the Da Vinci Code. I'm going to pick. Um,
Interesting. Okay.
mm,
All right. Well, let me have a little look here. Hey up, Cowboy Sting and Wayne. You all right? Uh, move this straw out the way. Guys, there's only one DVD in here. Sting. Wayne. Okay, I'll take it.
it's a hell of a build up.
So, oh, guys, Brokeback Mountain. Yeah, yeah. Hang
Nice.
around. I'll come back with you. Yeah. Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. We can do that. Awesome. All right, there you go.
Wow. Okay. Well, enjoy your night with Sting and Wayne and watching your movie and your bucket of popcorn. I'm sure you can sit in the middle. Um,
That's what they wanted. So you obviously, you
mm,
know, keep your ears to yourself. Keep your nose out of my business.
okay, no problem. So you enjoy your little ride in the Bluebird, and I'll carry on here with a bit of housekeeping. Um, Don't forget to check out our Mothership show, which is the Unofficial Controller podcast.
Hmm.
Over 300 episodes there. Check us out on YouTube. Give us a sub on YouTube. We'd love some more subs on there. Give us a comment on there. Give us a like.
We won't just love it. We bloody deserve it.
Yeah, I think so. Like I say, over 300 episodes. Check us out in your podcast supplier. You follow us on there. Download the back catalogue. That always helps us a lot. And give us a little review. That always helps. Check out our website, unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com, for anything flashback, anything unofficial controller podcast, anything that us presenters are doing, anything hidden gems, or anything challenge accepted. There's plenty on there to keep you busy. Great little website. If you want to email us, ask us any questions, you can do that. Questions at unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com. If you want to talk about this show, if you want to talk about flashback, unofficial controller, anything you want, just let us know. You can also contact us on your podcast supplier by talk to the show, or that will say contact the show. Leave us a little note on there if you want to. Leave your name and we'll give you a little readout on here. We've got our Discord, Unofficial Controller Podcast Discord. Great area. For anything talking gaming, what you're up to, making new friends, challenge accepted. There's quizzes, there's loads on there going on. So definitely jump on there. Even if you want to jump on there and squad up with some people online, there's a little area for that as well. So you can make some new friends on your Xbox or on your PlayStation. We're on Instagram, we're on X, and we're also on TikTok. There is plenty of videos on TikTok for you to show of the way they're edited. Just me and George being silly, really. And I think that is probably covered about everything, isn't it, George?
I think so. But I think if people are listening right now, and by listening, I mean you're on a podcast provider, this show is free. It'll always be free. But if you've got this far, you've obviously found something you like, or maybe dislike. Either which way, take that emotion, bottle it up, and fire it down in a review. 5 stars, preferably, or one that reflects what you experienced, and then some words that reflected that experience. That is all we're asking for you to do. It's simple. And every week, without fail, we will not let you down. We will have this show and the main show and supplementary shows as and when we get them to you. That's a big commitment. And all you need to do to show your love for us and appreciation is go write that review. Simple. One job. That is it. Thank you. I love you for it. Twice over on a Sunday. Even more so on the third Sunday after Pentecost. RGT, what's left?
Well, just to say, yeah, I agree with all that. Definitely thank you, everyone. Thank you for your continued support. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. If you're on listening as an audio listener, definitely download if you can rather than stream, because streams don't count. So we do appreciate the downloads. Thank you for everyone who's listening or viewing on YouTube. Give us a like, give us a comment, give us a sub. And other than that, I just want to say thank you, George, as always, for joining me on this little blast to the past in April 2006. It was always a pleasure.
The joy was all mine. Thank you to you and the listeners.
No, thank you. And it just leaves me to say, flashback, the games you loved, the stories you forgot. I'll see you guys next week, and I'll also see you next week, George.
See you later.